Soloing video, 5 tips or 5 concepts on how to solo over just one mode. We're gonna go straight to it. We're gonna play a solo over the Lydian mode, C Lydian, okay? We're not gonna get too much into theory in this specific video, but basically Lydian mode is a major scale with a sharp 11. Okay, when I practice soloing, I usually like to practice over a vamp, over some sort of a playback. So I created a couple of playbacks for this video. 2, 3, 4. For me, the center of the tonality here, for the sake of this vamp, is C Lydian. That's what I care about. All these other chords, they're just around that C. So we're gonna do the first tip and the second tip over this chord progression, okay? So the first tip is try to land or to start your phrases on strong notes. So if we are relating everything to C, major 7, so try to land your phrases on 1, 3, 5, or 7. Here's an example. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here I ended on the major 7. On the 5th. On the 3rd. All right, moving on to the next tip. Tip number 2. Let's go. Using thirds and fourths, which is the most common intervals to play double stops in a lot of styles of music, but especially the Hendrix style guitar, you know? Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that's pretty cool. Moving on to tip number 3, and now we are gonna also change your mode. We're gonna practice soloing over the Dorian scale, all right? And we're gonna do D Dorian. Now this is important. Most minor chord vamps and songs, especially in the jazz world, blues, Afrobeat, soul, R&B, most of the time the Dorian mode will be the right choice. So we need to get good at it. All right, so now we're gonna solo over the Dorian mode, and it's gonna be D Dorian. Let's go. So this is the vamp I came up with. This tip is going to be about playing triads within the mode, like that. Let me do a quick theory explanation. Every scale has 7 notes. If you group the notes in groupings of 3, then you always get triads. It's actually going to be 7 triads, right? Because from each note, you're going to get a triad. From the second, you're going to get a different triad. And then from the third, a different triad. These are the triads that you get from each scale. You can call them scale triad or scale chords. Now, this is really going to take you to the next level. This might be challenging for some of you guys, but I think that's good. So, 1, 2, 3, 4. Feel free to, in the comments, just be like, hey, this was too hard, or like, maybe you should post this, maybe you should do a video about that. So let me know. Moving on, tip number 4, same vamp. This time I'm going to show you first and play it, and then I'm going to talk about it. 2, 3, 4. Hopefully some of you guessed it while I was already playing. I was using chromatics. So tip number 4 is use chromatics. By the way, if all you get from this video is just like one little thing, maybe one tip, that's great. We're still in the Dorian mode, but I'm filling it up with chromatics, and it's really just about being playful with it. Of course, you need to go and transcribe a bunch of Charlie Parker solos and Cannonball and a bunch of Bud Powell solos and Miles Davis. The way I like to explain it is try to use the chromatics, the weird notes on upbeats, and the good notes, strong notes, just like I said in tip number 1, use them and land it on downbeats, okay? So I landed on 1 on the downbeat. Moving on to the last and the most important tip, and this is gonna be something we think about as musicians forever and ever. So tip number 5 is time. Play in time and be intentional about time. And we're going to use D Dorian again, and I'm going to show you what I mean by being intentional about time, okay? I'm going to do some examples where like I'm not so intentional about time, and I wonder if that's going to like help at all. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's kind of hard to do, but I hope that was maybe a good example. The rhythm speaks even harder than the notes. So when you're trying to sing without the rhythm, it almost feels like something is missing. It's not gonna feel so good, especially if you're playing behind a beat or with a band. Just being intentional about time can really sort out your entire solo. You will suddenly be melodic just because you're playing in rhythm. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5 tips. Please let me know if that was helpful. And please let me know what you want to see next. I might do it on the next video. So if you like that kind of stuff, feel free to subscribe. I don't know, I think on the next video, I'll talk more about harmony on the next video. Let me know what you think. Comment below, ask me anything. You can DM me on Instagram. And I hope to see you next week on my next video. All right, peace.